Hey, happy day 28. Let's work on our hamstrings and some overall hip health. So we'll come and lie down to start. You might have a small ball, pinky ball or tennis ball and a yoga block, and otherwise we'll lay flat. Hug your knees into your chest and just feel or notice where you can feel your breathing with this hugging in action, hip flexion. Good, and then keeping your knees where they are, take your arms out to the side, have a little weight to your arms and start to stabilize your core and keep the lower back heavy, and then take your knees more over in line with your hips. So we're feeling quite a bit of stability in the front of your abdomen to help pressurize and broaden across your lower back. And then can your pelvis be just a little bit light, and maybe take just a couple of toe dips here. And this could be a couple of inches or dipping your toe all the way to the floor and just going back and forth, keeping the back of your neck long and smooth breathing. And we're just waking up the anterior abdominal wall. We want stability at the front body to balance out maybe some of the stability that we sometimes ask of the hamstrings to compensate for lack of control at the front. And then again, hug your knees in. This time you can bring your feet together and knees apart and come into your Baddha Konasana, the butterfly knee shape. So my knees are just a little bit apart here. Good. And then feet to your mat. Go ahead and take your feet maybe closer to yoga mat's width. Pressure your lower back into the floor, squeeze your knees together and bridge up. So now we're going for hip flexor strength, or hip flexor length and glute strength here. So not so much a back bend. And then we'll release and lower down. Bring your feet now hips width distance, and you can option to just draw your right knee in over your chest, or you could pin the pinky ball at your right hip, and you're trying to kind of squeeze it in place. And then feel your left foot on the floor and take a couple slow motion bridge poses. Keep squeezing your right knee in towards your torso and try to lift to your full extension here in your left hip. Keep a little bit of stability of your core, length of your tailbone towards the back of your knee. Good. And this should be really starting to wake up your outer hip muscles. So with quite a bent knee, this is more glutes. The glutes are huge support to the hamstrings so that the hamstrings don't have to do it all. Good. Okay, release, and we'll switch sides. Now you pin the ball with your left leg and bridge up with your right. And just go a couple rounds. Ooh, my slippery ball on my pants here. Okay, a couple times. Try not to let the ball pop out like I just did. Big toe is heavy. It's a real point of strength. And then keeping your tailbone lengthening towards the back of your knees, trying to lift your hips to your full extension here. Good. Couple more on this side. If you had time, you'd even pause and do a second round of this. Can be quite helpful. Okay, and then we'll release. Let that go, and you can set your ball off to the side. Knees maybe lean in against each other now, and just take a couple easy rounds of breath. Good. And then feet are hips width distance. Oh, excuse me, Boone. Now walk your feet a little bit away from you. And again, stabilize the anterior abdominal wall, big toes heavy, and bridge up. And then pull your feet towards you. So now we're biasing the hamstrings. And then lower down. And again, bridge up. And maybe you do a couple heel lifts, lifting and lowering your heels, keeping the ball of your big toe heavy, tailbone lengthening towards the back of your knees. So this is involving more the posterior chain, waking up your calf, being able to lift and lower your heels a few times. Good. And then release. Cramping can happen, so just back off, try to stay just before you get to a point of cramping. And then let's do a couple more lifting and lowering, pulling the feet towards you. Big toes heavy, knees or hips width distance, tailbone lengthening towards the backs of your knees. Good. Couple more breaths. Good. Do maybe one or two more. Okay. And then relax. Maybe take a little mini shavasana here, stretching your legs out long. Take a couple breaths. And then start to wake up the legs, spread your toes out wide, and hug your left knee in towards your chest. And just stay here. And then see if you can start to engage your core, pull your knee closer to your shoulder, and make your hands light and even let go. So now we're pulling the knee in, and you'll just slowly try to keep your knee as close as you can, extend your leg out straight, and then bend and pull the knee in closer. Do that 2 more times. Extend and bend. 1 more time. Extend. Keep your leg this straight and flex and point and flex and point. Good. Okay, and then release. Stable lower back as you set your foot down and reach it out long. Spread your toes out wide and hug your right knee in. Good. Hold the knee in. Even pull it a little closer to your shoulder using your hip flexors, and then take your arms away. Keep your knee this close as you extend, and then rebend. So the foot can be a little bit soft or pointed. And then 1 more time we'll bend and straighten, and keep your knee as close as you can towards your body. You flex and point your foot 2 times, slow motion. Good. And then release. Stretch both legs out long. Circle your arms up and overhead. And then release. Take your hands down by your sides, bend your knees, and we'll roll over, and let's see how the hamstrings feel in downward facing dog. And then walking your hands and feet together for Uttanasana, bend your knees as much as you need to. And then roll up or a flat spine to come up. As you stand, sweep the arms up and overhead. Good. And then float your arms down by your sides. Okay, let's come and do a little work standing. Let me adjust my camera just a little higher. So we'll stretch out the left leg, option to have your right hand at the wall, catching your left ankle. And then lift and engage pubic bone towards breastbone. So strong anterior abdominal wall. Going for a stretch at the front of your thigh. And then your hand could slide a little forward on the wall. You could kick a little bit back and play with a Natrajasana, keeping your front abdomen nice and strong. The wall's here as much as you need. And then coming back to this real upright, again, engage your core, engage your left buttocks, squeeze your heel towards your body, and let go. You can have the hand on the wall for support, hands on your hips. Hold your heel towards your butt as close as you can. And then maybe flex and point, flex and point. And then can you, how slow can you lower it to the floor? So a eccentric contraction. Hello, hamstrings. Okay, let's do our second side. Left hand to the wall, catching your right leg. Engage your core. Hold your heel in, and then you can play a little bit with Natrajasana, the arm coming forward, the leg kicking back. Strong lower abdomen. Calm, smooth breathing. 2 hip points facing forward. And then reaching to come out, re-engage the core, squeeze your heel towards your buttocks, make the hand light, eventually let go. Hold it up, try to Stay just shy of a cramp, and then maybe a flex and a point and a flex and a point, and then how slowly can you lower your leg? Good. Okay, so we want some tension along this back line of our body. So from here, you're gonna pigeon toe your feet. Feet are comfortably a little wider than hips distance. And you just see, let the knees be soft, but the hinge is from the hips. So stable front core. There's like a little karate chop through the hip crease, and you just see how far can you hinge back. And as an option, you could reach forward. So hips go back, arms reach forward. Strong anterior abdominal wall. Outer heel to big toe firm, and then just see, can you drive your big toes down to upright yourself? So we're trying to get the weight more and more back into the heels, like you almost could fall over, okay? And we're wanting to incorporate this movement in daily life. Like, how often do you reach for something and round from your back rather than hinge from your hips? So weight back in the heels, big toe so firm, and then drive the big toe down to upright yourself. Good. Let's do that one more time. And there's this nice kind of counterweight happening. And hopefully this is an enjoyable sensation. As we hinge more from our hips, less from our spine, or only using our spine, this hopefully helps us feel good. Okay, so time under tension in our back chain. See how we've stretched it out. And then big toes drive down. And we come up. Feels good. Okay, so parallel feet Tadasana. Sweep your arms up overhead. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Big toes firm here, and then walking hands forward and feet back. We come back to downward dog. And then release and come down. You can sit comfortably or come lay down for a minute and rest. Checking in with your breathing again. All right. Thank you so much for practicing with me today.